Hello, hello, hello. I'm Adrian. How are you? And welcome to Rabona TV's weekend recap. Quick edition of it this time, folks, as I got home late this weekend, and therefore I won't have any time for the bonus leagues. You know, France, Portugal, etc. Just the top four this time, but back to our regular coverage next week. Promise. Okay? Let's go. There were some massive results in the Bundesliga, both for narrative reasons and just the volume of goals in some of them. First off, we have Bayern Munich taking on Bayer Leverkusen, a match we were all looking forward to, right? Considering how good Leverkusen have looked lately, right? And how strong Bayern themselves have looked under Julian Nagelsmann thus far, right? And then you added the fact that they had just recently lost to Eintracht Frankfurt prior to the break, and there were storylines to be had. But Bayern is still Bayern, and they will happily stomp any opponent of any size in their own home. After just 37 minutes, Bayern had a 5-0 lead. A 5-0 lead after 37 minutes. 2 apiece for Lewandowski and Gnabry. A goal and an assist for Thomas Müller. Wild stuff and such an anticlimax. I mean, the capitulation from Leverkusen, in which they conceded 4 goals in 7 minutes from the 30th minute on. I mean, imagine. You go to grab a beer in the 29th minute as you're losing 1-0, then return to your seat 7 minutes later to see your team concede a 5th goal, 3 while you were gone. Not a good look for Bayer Leverkusen. Great result for a Bayern side that, Frankfurt hiccup aside, is seemingly getting stronger and stronger under Julian Nagelsmann, which is a very scary thought. Speaking of not a good look, Mark van Bommel is really getting exposed at this point now. This weekend, Wolfsburg lost 2-0 away to Union Berlin, which you guys know I love me some Union, but this Wolfsburg side, playing in the Champions League, the additions they've made, I mean, you would have thought that under Glasner last season, they would have had enough to deal with this Union side for sure. Again, like I said, with the additions they made this past summer. Speaking of Glasner, he and Eintracht Frankfurt followed up that lovely result against Bayern from the previous match day with a loss against the punching bag that has been Hertha Berlin. Hertha came to town and ended up getting a 2-1 victory. And they were great value for it as well, as they definitely could have won by a few more if they just had a bit of added quality in the attack. Hoffenheim had plenty of quality in the attack as they played against Köln, as they dished out an unholy beatdown to Köln, who are on a 5-match unbeaten run. A goal conceded for every match unbeaten for Köln, as Hoffenheim won 5-0 as they keep themselves in touching distance of the European places. Hoffenheim's my wild card this season. Borussia Mönchengladbach tied Stuttgart 1-1, while Freiburg and Leipzig was a big matchup that saw them also draw 1-1. Finally, we have Borussia Dortmund taking on Mainz, who started the season well, but can't seem to stop the bleeding now. 3 matches in a row they have lost, certainly against decent opponents though, as they have been on a tough run of games. Bayer Leverkusen, Union Berlin, and now Borussia Dortmund. That's not easy. Marco Reus opened the scoring after 3 minutes, while Erling Haaland scored 1 from the spot and 1 in injury time. He loves a late goal, doesn't he? To give Dortmund the 3-1 victory. Marco Reus' side are looking better and better, just the 2 losses, while the rest are wins, meaning they are just a single point behind Bayern Munich in the standings. Leverkusen and the still unbeaten Freiburg are circling behind them, as are Union Berlin. The Conference League's Union Berlin. It was a fantastic weekend for Liverpool as they went away to Watford and had their front 3 firing all together for what feels like the first time in years, even though it's not. Sadio Mane kept the scoring streak alive with a goal to make it 3 goals in 3 matches on the trot for the Senegalese attacker. Set up by Mo Salah, who's in some of the best form of his Liverpool career at the moment. He scored yet another ridiculous goal this weekend to further that point. And by the way, the assist for Mane's goal was about as nice as you'll see. As for his own goal, just ridiculous footwork, sending defenders flying in all directions, and then cutting inside on his strong foot and picking out the corner. I mean, there was echoes of that goal against Manchester City. All the while, what's even more encouraging for Liverpool supporters is the fact that Firmino got in on the scoring. Not only that, but he scored a hat trick. The first, a tap in. The second, a tap from a spill from the keeper. And the third being a tap in from some great work from Nico Williams. And I don't mean to use tap in as a slur, because it isn't. What's encouraging about these goals from Firmino is that he was in the right positions to convert, something he hasn't been capable of, at least at a frequent rate in the past couple of seasons. 5-0 Liverpool. Bad start for Ranieri at Watford. Wolves made it 4 wins in their last 5 matches with a hard-fought victory away to Aston Villa, in which Bruno Lage's side pulled off an incredible comeback. After going 2-0 down at Villa Park with goals from McGinn and Ings, Romain Saiss brought one back in the 80th, 2-1. Connor Cody equalized in the 85th, 2-2, and in the 95th, Ruben Neves saw his deflected free kick make it past Emi Martinez. A match to forget for Emi, really. 4 shots on target, 1 save. A bit of bad luck. Leicester hosted Manchester United, and they came into this game without a Premier League win in over a month and a half. Their last victory coming in August away to Norwich, and with how United started this game, it looked as if that winless run could continue as Greenwood put the visitors up with a stunning strike in off of the post in the top corner. But Yuri Tielemans matched him with a stunner himself. United caught playing with their food a bit, if you will, at the back. Maguire caught in possession. Ball is eventually cut back to Tielemans from Iheanacho, and he puts it in the same top corner as Greenwood, basically, from the right into that top left. In the second half, Matic caught in possession led to Tielemans hitting another stunner off the post, this time with some help from De Gea. But Leicester would take the lead after Rodgers made 2 key subs, Ayoze Perez and Patson Daka, both coming on. Perez would play a role in Soyuncu's goal to put the Foxes ahead, though the returning Rashford would level just 4 minutes later. A great ball from Victor Lindelof over the top, and Rashford made no mistake. This match was madness though. Ayoze Perez later got his second assist of the match to make it 3-2 via Jamie Vardy, before my man Patson Daka got his first Premier League goal in the 94th minute to make it 4-2 Leicester. A thoroughly entertaining match, some absolute bangers, some shoddy defending, more pressure on Ollie, as the results are looking rather grim lately, aren't they? Not just the results, but the overall play has been poor. 4 wins in the last 7, and their fixtures are terrifying. Atalanta, Liverpool, Tottenham, Atalanta, Man City, Watford, Villarreal, Chelsea, Arsenal. I mean, the rest of October and the entirety of November will be a massive test for Ollie. Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne provided the goals for Pep in Manchester City's 2-0 victory against Burnley on Saturday. Great work from Cancelo and Bernardo down the right for City. The finishing touch coming from a healthy rebound for Bernardo to pounce on. He's been looking better and better lately. Similarly, De Bruyne pounced on a loose ball in the Burnley box and lashed it past Pope for 2-0 in the second half. West Ham United got a massive 1-0 win away to Everton as they show they are still here and won't ever be an easy match this season. Souček with quite the gash, well, double gash to his face, which I won't show, even though they aren't that grisly, but my goodness, is that guy ever a warrior. Southampton got a 1-0 victory at home against Leeds as Leeds failed to build on that first win of the season from right before the international break. Armando Broja with the winner for Saints. Chelsea, they overcame Brentford thanks in large part to the heroics of Edouard Mendy. Mendy, who was, took it personally that he wasn't on that 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. Playing away to Brentford, which isn't easy, and with Christensen, Chalobah, and Malang Sarr ahead of him, Edouard Mendy's last gasp brilliant save ensured that Chilwell's goal on the stroke of halftime was enough to get the 3 points and keep Chelsea at the top of the table. Spurs, they got a win away to Newcastle United in a match that had a truly scary moment. A supporter in the stands had a medical emergency, which was spotted by Sergio Reguilon, whom alerted the referee. Eric Dyer rushed to the sidelines with Skip to ensure a defibrillator was on its way to the fan in need in the stands, and thankfully, after a long stoppage that, had sent the teams to their dressing rooms, they were stabilized. And apparently they are awake and doing well, so we wish them well. As for the match itself, Callum Wilson got Newcastle started on the right foot as he gave them the lead just 6 minutes in, only for Ndombele to equalize. Jamal Lascelles just giving him far too much room and not closing him down fast enough. And then Kane scored his first Premier League goal of the season as he was played in behind and then deftly dinked it over the keeper. After the medical stoppage, a well-worked goal saw Son make it 3-1 by the half. With an Eric Dyer own goal later on, it ended 3-2 Spurs away to Newcastle. Despite their 3 consecutive losses, Tottenham are actually up in 5th place now, just 4 points off the top, just 1 ahead of United, and level with Brighton, who have drawn 3 matches in a row, this weekend included. Chelsea still atop the table, Liverpool and City are close behind. Inter Milan and Lazio. Explosive match, or at least at the end, with one of the most bizarre red cards you'll ever see. The first half was decent for Inter as Brozovic was dominant again. Perisic converted a penalty, and despite some scary moments from Lazio towards the end of the first half, things looked okay for Inter. Until the 60th minute. Penalty for a handball by Bastoni, Immobile equalizing. Felipe Anderson's great return to Lazio continued with what was the winner in the 81st minute, and finally, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic made it 3-1 in stoppage time. He's having a great season, isn't he? And then the weirdos came out. Luis Felipe jumped on Joaquin Correa's back as if he was celebrating with the former Lazio man and was promptly sent off. One of those moments that are so cringe, but so funny as well. 3-1 Lazio, another win in a big game for Maurizio Sarri, and a loss against his former club for Inzaghi. Salernitana were denied consecutive victories as they fell 2-1 away to Spezia after a 76th minute goal from Viktor Kovalenko. Kovalenko with a goal and an assist as Spezia came from 1 down to win it. Speaking of which, this Milan side have shown that they aren't just, punching above their weight, if you will, as has been the narrative for a while. It's felt like everyone has just been waiting for Milan to crash back down to earth. And they could, of course, but to me it feels like any run of bad results would be essentially that, a good team with bad results going through a bad patch of form, as opposed to a mediocre team that fell back down to their level. This weekend they were 2-0 down after just 24 minutes, but they rallied in the second half and absolutely dominated. First up, Raphael Leão setting up Giroud, and then Kessié converting a penalty. He's so reliable from the spot, isn't he? And finally, an own goal from Corey Gunter completed the second half comeback for Milan, a Milan side that is absolutely struck by injuries to tons of key players, Mike Maignan in particular. And they weren't doing great in the early exchanges of that second half, so to rally like that in the last half hour or so was very impressive. Cagliari got the first win of the season this weekend with a 3-1 scoreline up against Sampdoria. João Pedro scored in the first 4 minutes of the game to make it 1-0, then in the 4th minute of second half stoppage time to make it 3-1. Atalanta went away to Empoli and got a 4-1 victory, and a truly lovely sight was seeing Josip Ilicic score a first half brace, one of which was an absolute belter. The first half ended 2-1 Atalanta, and with Viti getting an unfortunate own goal and Zapata scoring in the dying moments of the match, this one ended 4-1. Unfortunate that Ilicic had 2 great finishes, only to miss the goal completely from this penalty spot. No hat trick for him, but this bodes well for Atalanta ahead of their trip to take on United at Old Trafford. Napoli and Torino provided 2 firm pieces of intel for us. Well, it confirmed 2 firm pieces of intel. 1, Lorenzo Insigne should stop taking penalties for Spalletti's side, and Victor Osimhen is an incredibly good striker. His aerial ability. The guy almost scored a beautiful header earlier in the match before scoring the winner with a towering header in the 81st minute. What a player. He scored 8 goals now across all competitions, and Napoli have won 8 matches from 8 matches. Perfect record for Spalletti and the boys. Juventus and Roma was another one of the big matches from this weekend, and for the most part, it delivered. Moise Kean in particular delivered for Juve as he was the lone striker, and thus he was doing a lot of dirty work for Juve up front, constantly called upon to slug it out with the Roma defenders, holding up the play, fighting for possession in the corners, and he scored a goal as well. Not his cleanest, but with the ball going off of Bentancur's head and then Kean's head, it beat Patricio in goal for Roma. Roma looked as if they were robbed, however, as Abraham had put the ball in the goal from a messy play that saw Mkhitaryan get fouled by Szczesny. But were they robbed? Well, Daniele Orsato had blown the whistle for the penalty prior to the ball going in, thus killing the play. And then you check the replay again, and it looks as if Mkhitaryan had passed the ball to Abraham with his hand, so it probably wouldn't have counted in the first place. Anyway, Vertu and his penalty, that was saved, and Chiellini blocked the ensuing rebound. Cue the classic scene of Chiellini celebrating a block or a tackle, something I never get tired of seeing. Guy's passion for defending is unmatched, really. In the second half, with the introductions of Dejan Kulusevski and Alvaro Morata, Juve began getting a little bit closer to a second goal. Sure, Vertu came close again with a curling effort for Roma in that second half, but Kulusevski was causing issues all over the park for that Roma defense, and Juve just seemed secure, if you will, at least when it comes to their defensive stability, because AS Roma were probably the better team, but big performances from guys like Szczesny, Chiellini, Bentancur, 1-0 Juve, bit of an ugly win for Juve, but 4 wins on the trot. You got to be happy about that. And this one against a top club in the league as well. Allegri will be a happy guy, I'm sure. Especially if he looks at the table, as Juve are now on 14 points alongside Atalanta in 7th. Napoli are the leaders by a long shot, 10 points ahead of Juve at the moment with 24. Milan just behind them on 22. And then there's a bit of a point gap for Inter in 3rd. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid's matches were both postponed against Athletic Bilbao and Granada respectively, so no talk of them today. Real Sociedad showed great resilience against Mallorca, who, as you'll remember, are not an easy side to take on. But as for Sociedad, on the stroke of halftime, left back Ayhen Munoz picked up his second yellow card to put La Real down a man. However, with their backs against the wall, Julen Lobete scored what would be the winner in the 90th minute for Imanol Alguacil's side. Huge result for them, as they are fighting for the top places once again in La Liga. Sevilla bounced back from their loss last match day with a 1-0 win away to Celta Vigo. New boy Rafa Mir getting the goal for Sevilla as he got the start in place of the injured Youssef En-Nesyri. Villarreal dominated Osasuna at home at Estadio de la Ceramica, and Villarreal had yet another disappointing La Liga result in that they ended up losing to Osasuna. It's wholly frustrating stuff for Unai Emery as his side hit the woodwork twice. Osasuna, a good side, converted both of their best chances as they had 2 shots on target and 2 goals, the winner coming from Avila in the 87th minute. You'll see, Osasuna is in a good spot. Barcelona versus Valencia, Koeman versus Bordalás, and it was Valencia who struck first in this one after just 5 minutes. That would have had Barcelona supporters panicking, but the rest of the match went off quite well. First off, Barcelona played a 4-3-3 with an attacking trio of Memphis, Ansu Fati, and Serginho Dest, all 3 of which look great out there. Dest as a winger, I like that way more than Dest as a fullback, that's for sure. And with Fati on the pitch, Memphis had somebody to actually play with. He set up the youngster in the 13th minute, then scored from the spot just before halftime to put Barcelona ahead, while Ter Stegen still had to make a few decent saves in this one. Dest setting up the substitute Coutinho in the 85th minute gave them breathing room. Enough breathing room to bring on Sergio Aguero late in the half for his Barcelona debut in the 87th minute, 2 minutes after Dest had set up Coutinho. And so with that victory, Barcelona move up to 7th in the table, just behind Rayo Vallecano, who also won this weekend. Real Sociedad is at the top, while Osasuna, Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, and Real Madrid are all on 17 points, 3 behind them. If they all win their match in hand, save Osasuna, we'll have a 4-way tie at the top. And that's it, guys. That's all for this video. Once again, I appreciate your time spent here with me, and if you enjoyed this, then have a go on that like button. Hey, subscribe if you're new. We're going to have content all week. We got match watch-alongs for the Champions League coverage, etc. My name is Adrian. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hopefully will see you in the next one. Ciao.